Hello anybody and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deep, and in the last episode we started off Razor Ridge, the 6th world of the game now? Wow. And in today's episode we're continuing it off, going up to Bjorn's chairlifts. Oh, hello, how are you, my fine furry Kady? I am being Bjorn, being his brother. I'm afraid that my chairlift is broken. I lent my number 6 wrench to someone and they didn't return it to me. Hey, you found my wrench. Could I have it back? And then we're gonna say it's yours anyway, so yeah. Thank you, you top Kady. You may use my ski lift for free from now on. Well, your brother let us use his ski lift for free as well, so yeah. If you remember, we got that wrench from Barter, who was the bear who was basically to the west of this world. We had to give him Cranky's mirror, which we bought for 50 coins, and in exchange for that little side quest we did, it's basically another banana bird. Not the hardest combination there. Thankfully there were a lot on the left side to take advantage of, so that was really nice to have. And we get to ride all the way back and take the ride down here, and by the ride I mean the ladder, and that'll bring us on to the next level of the world, Floodlit Fish. So this will actually bring us into another water level, which we haven't had since the 3rd world of the game. And the gimmick of this level, as you can probably tell, is that it's pretty dark. However, ooh, there was a big boom. One of my books fell over. I don't know if the microphone picked up on that, but yeah. As you can see, the gimmick of this level is that you play as On Guard, and you have to poke these fish in order to light up the place, or light up the level so you can see where you're going. You also need to poke the red fish for treasures, so you know. Mostly there's just a lot of poking going on in this level, and now usually I'm not a fan of dark levels in games, particularly when you can't see anything at all, where the gimmick is like, oh, you just can't see. Because that doesn't really account to me, that doesn't really embody a challenge, like a reasonable, fun challenge. That's just kind of annoying. But in this level, I'm more forgiving of it because it's fun to play as On Guard, and also, when it gets dark, it's not impossibly dark. Like, you can still kind of see where you're going, you just need to take your time a little more. However, as you can see, we're not having too much trouble with this level so far. I am being a little bit chancy by attacking these urchins rather than, you know, avoiding them. I forget what they're called again, but oh well. However, we do find our first bonus barrel over here. If I remember correctly, the bonus barrels in this level aren't too hard to find. But it is dark. So, I mean, it's dark inside the bonus level, so that makes it a little harder to collect them. I would just go back and forth and do them row by row for the most part. As per usual with the bonus game, you got more than enough time to collect it all comfortably, just as long as you don't fly over the place a little too much. It's like, focus on clearing out subsections before you just go on and just go flying all across the screen, like I was saying before. Careful with those red cocos, they come in pretty fast. And I think that's the bonus barrel we had before. It's kind of interesting, but I noticed this with the game, is that when it comes to archetypes, usually there's 3 examples of any given archetype within the game, and I'm not counting the Lost World for this, because that's a bonus world, and bonus worlds follow their own rules, but basically, it feels as though, for the most part, you'll find 3 examples of a level archetype in the game. So there are 3 underwater levels, for instance. 2 of them are in one world, that being the 3rd world of the game, and the 3rd one is in a different world of the game. So I think that's a pretty good method of establishing an archetype within a given world. Like for the snow world that we went to, even though there was only there was only like 2 snow levels, and one of them was a toboggan level. But, you know, it had 2 of the 3 snow levels in the game, so that was good for helping to establish that. Whereas the forest world of the game had 2 of the forest archetypes, and then the other prominent one appears in Mechanos. So, yeah, that's just something I noticed while I was playing back through this game again, and I think it is an interesting approach to keeping diversity throughout the worlds with different archetypes while trying to establish a theme. But I do think some worlds could establish their theme a little better. As mentioned, K3, the snow world of the game, it only has the 2 snow levels, and one of them's a toboggan level that's over really, really fast. Now, its industrial level has a palette, like the cold palette, which helps to emphasize, you know, you're in a snowy world, therefore all the environments are going to be cold. But overall, I think they could have done better in that world in terms of snow. Maybe had like a third snowy aesthetic. And they kind of tried to do that with the cliffs there too, because the cliffs in the cliff level that you do at the start of K3 it's all white, and we're dead. This is a very prickly part of the level, and very dangerous. Now, this level does have some of the issues that I have with the other water levels in the game, in that it's, once you die, or if you go into a bonus barrel, everything looks especially similar, so it really does feel easy to get yourself all turned around in this level. And I think we're about back where we are before. This is very dangerous, and it's why they clump them together in pairs to make them a lot harder to deal with. But pretty much all you can do here is just kind of take your time and go slowly, a little slower than what I've been going at. But On Guard just feels so good to play fast. And you want to sneak down here because, yep, there they are. And we don't want to deal with them. And we got both of them, so we're just gonna fly back up here. I'm just, you know, looking around for secrets. Gonna turn the lights back on. Their eyes bug out so much, it's kind of freaky to look at them. And I don't think there's anything down in that bottom right area. And I think this is actually more appropriately where we were back to getting. And now we're about back to where we were again, but this time we're just gonna sneak on down here, get past them. The level, I think, trends more towards wanting you to avoid these guys rather than killing them, and again, that's why they pair them in clumps of 2, rather than, you know, making them easier to kill. Because they are not easy to kill. But most of the level pretty much revolves around dodging them. But I think there might be a secret down under these 2. Yep, there it is. There's the other bonus barrel. So you pretty much have to kill those ones, even though most of the level actively discourages you from trying to do that. Or rather, maybe not actively discourages you so much as just challenges you. And I think the darkness in this bonus level is trying to trip you up, but it's really not that bad to deal with. Maybe it was harder to do on a CRT TV, but again, for the most part, the darkness in this level isn't too overbearing. And now we come... I don't mean to keep poking him, I swear. Now we come to... Why? In this room, we just want to take our time and squeeze through it a little slower. And as there is an On Guard sign, we reach the end of the level and go on through this little passage. This level is also a good example of how the game in general, it tends to revolve its gimmicks around one particular enemy type. And in this case, it was the urchins. And Smog was talking to me recently when he was watching my videos, and he noticed in K3 in particular, in the Lemguin level, how a lot of levels introduce like unique enemies and cool designs, and then they only play them out for 1 or 2 levels and then never use them again. So one of his problems with Donkey Kong Country 3 is that it's a game with a lot of wasted potential. And I can totally see where he's coming from there. Not that I really like dealing with the urchins, but they just kind of, because they're in like every water level, but you know, they were primary in that level, and unique enemies are primary in other levels. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling so we can get on to the next level of this world, Potful Panic. Now, Potful Panic is very unique in its own right, because it's a, you know, a purple cave. But more than that, it's an animal buddy level that revolves around, well, an animal buddy, starting off with Squawks. And very interestingly is this is the first time since, I don't know, like the beginning of the game, that we're riding on an animal buddy rather than becoming them. So here we have like a new enemy type that'll just throw bombs out of the barrel. As far as I know, they're invincible. I don't think you can kill these guys, and they're just a hazard. But, I mean, which is weird that you can't hurt them because they're in a barrel, so the whole idea of a lot of barrel enemies is that you can, you know, take care of them by picking them up and throwing them, or jumping on their head and then picking them up and throwing them. As you can see, though, we have lost Dixie Kong. Squawks has always been a little different from the other animal buddies, in that usually an animal buddy, when you ride on them, they become an extra hit. In this game, when you ride on Squawks, you don't get that benefit. You still only get the one hit, which might make you wonder, you know, why even bother with turning into Squawks then if you still only take the one hit? Well, that's actually a really good question, and I don't have an answer to it. Maybe your hitbox is a little smaller when you're playing as Squawks, or when you become Squawks, so for the sake of longer sections, it's nicer to be turned into Squawks rather than ride him. But I could be totally wrong there. In Donkey Kong Country 2, when you were riding on Squawks as Diddy and Dixie Kong in the Bramble levels, you could carry the Kongs along the brambles, like drag them along the bottom of the screen, and they wouldn't take any damage because the brambles weren't touching Squawks. So that was an interesting thing. As you can see, though, we are popping a lot of these balloon fish, and with that, we are getting just simple bananas, though. I do not like this section, though. It's a little nerve-wracking. Also, while I said I don't like the cavern levels very much, I don't mind this one so much because it's got the animal buddy gimmick, but at the same time, I'm still not a fan of the environment, even with this purplish color, and with the geode teal to go with it. But anyway, we've got another animal buddy to ride on. We're going to be riding on Ellie. You might be wondering, Mr. Devious, what are you doing? Why did you just do that? Well, if you must know, I am looking for secrets, as I am wont to do, and I didn't practice this level, so I'm being a little more thorough in that instance. However, as we can see, there's a hint over here that there is something up here. However, I immediately know what I screwed up. I'm not supposed to be there this early, and I got a little bit overeager. But that's okay, because we can jump on the head of this copter just to get that coin. Totally unnecessary, but it was still fun to do. I'm trying to catch up with Ellie, and we died. Oops. The nice thing, though, is that we start right on Ellie's back, and we can get ourselves Kiddy Kong, and we're just as fresh as we were earlier. Very nice. However, we ended up doing that again. But the nice thing is we were able to keep Ellie in order to jump into that bonus barrel. That's what we ultimately needed her for, was to reach a bonus barrel. And with this, you can just get these very easily. Obviously, you're meant to jump off of Ellie's back, but if you use Dixie, you can get some more airtime with her hair whirl, and that just makes that a whole lot easier to get. And now we're back in the water with the both of them. Up here, we got good old Squitter on our side. And, well, I mean, that's where we were supposed to go. I hope I didn't miss any secrets down there, but I don't think I did. It is nice to see, like, something similar to Animal Antics from Donkey Kong Country 2 make another appearance, but without it being incredibly hard like Animal Antics was in the first game, or in Donkey Kong Country 2, rather. Getting some slowdown there with too many objects on the screen or something? That's ridiculous. And now, we're in an instance where there are bombs and presents. Let me tell you, you don't want to get a bomb for a present. But the key again to, as it is with a lot of these green banana minigames, is to just be patient. He's not throwing the bombs that fast, so you do get a lot of windows where you can get the presents. I know it looks very tight, and it is, but we got it with a second to spare, so we were able to be mostly patient and still get everything we needed to get that. So we're doing just fine. The only thing we're missing now is the coin. The DK coin, which we gotta find coin to get, obviously. Obviously, we're not gonna get it back there, though, so we're gonna have to give up. We're gonna have to give up Squitter and bring ourselves up here. You do need both Kongs to get up here, though, so hopefully you didn't lose either one. It's a little easier to keep them in this level because since the animal buddies are ridden rather than transformations, you can you can use the animal buddies to basically preserve an extra hit. So it's a little easier to get to the end with that in mind. This is more challenging than it should be, but they put the barrel up here, they put the keg up here, for one thing, and then it's a very tight corridor in which you... Excuse me? Now you're really gonna get it, mister. Finally! That should not have been as challenging as it was, but it's no big deal because we got the DK coin and we can bring this level to an end. Whew. Out of the difficult levels in Razor Ridge, I didn't particularly remember that one being too bad. But anyway, we've now cleared off 4 levels of this world, and that only leaves 1 more before we get to the boss. But I think we're gonna save that for the next one, since we took a bit of time in those first 2 levels. So, in the next episode, I hope you'll join me for Ropey Rumpus. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye!